be holy, not horny. Horny, totally. Guys, do you see this on the face of this? You see the ring light. You should actually feel like you're in my circle at this point because that was hilarious. Anyways, it's all to say we are in part 2 of this wonderful long series that we don't know how long it's going to be. But we know that God is going to be faithful in it, so might as well get right into it. Hi everyone, welcome back to Growing in Truth. We're actually on my couch. I had to call it out. It had to be the first thing because I've been dying to come back on this couch, but I kept putting stuff on here. And you know what? That is already a problem. The amount of times that we literally prevent ourselves from doing the thing that we need to do because I needed this space for you guys. And I kept just putting like random books on here and filling it up with unnecessary things. So I took the time, cleaned it up, and now we're here. We're back on my couch. So I'm happy to have you seated with me, or if you are just driving or going somewhere else or doing whatever you're doing, I'm happy that you're here with me. And we are in our little series called Horny to Holy. Funny enough, I kept calling it Holy to Horny, and I was like, wait a freaking minute, because that's not the process I want to take you guys to. I do not want to be the one that breaks the purity of the 11-year-old's mind, because you know, that's a rabbit hole I can't be part of. Now, when the door opens and someone needs to find holiness again, I'm your girl. I am your girl. So today, guys, we're going to be talking about something that, honestly, I loved this question so much. And in the midst of thinking about this question, I actually had to do some research because I did not want to take it from a place of only my perspective and the things that I've experienced, because I also wanted to understand it from a different point of view. So we're going to be talking about sex dreams, and alongside that, sex daydreams. Because both of these things, whether it's involuntary or voluntary, they come from a very similar root of lust within us. This is not about only attacking the things that you involuntarily do. It is also about the things that you are voluntarily allowing in your life that can provoke those involuntary things. Because you know how guilty a person feels. I'm sure you've probably related to it, but I can speak from my perspective. The amount of times that I just felt guilty for sex dreams that I was not provoking, but I was like, this is coming from somewhere. I have a feeling, although I am not the one asking you for a dream like this, there's a seed here somewhere. One that I have to dig up, because why is this occurring in my life? And on top of that, the season of life that I experienced where sexual daydreams were so normal, so embedded into my day-to-day life, that I literally could not take a nap, go to sleep, without thinking about sexual scenarios prior to falling asleep. Maybe that's just a girl thing, or it's an everyone thing, because we have so many desires built up within us. How do we tend to every single one of these struggles? Because it's not even just about the action. That's why this Horny to Holy series, man, it's so much more than what I'm saying it is. That's why we're going to be here a while. Because it's so much more than committing a sin and saying sorry. It's so much more than feeling a certain level of guilt because of the amount of doors that you've opened. It is so much more. It's starting in here. And it's planting in here. And then it's acting out here. But this is one of those struggles that actually starts here and then sometimes creeps in here, but mainly stays here. It mainly takes us everywhere within our minds. So to specify, I just want to basically ask the question from this person's point of view and let you just ponder on it. The question was, is it a sin when lust creeps through dreams? And am I held accountable for that sin? Rather than answering straightforward, because if I answer straightforward, there's a greater possibility that you will out the video. And I do not want that, because it is so much more than just a yes or no answer. But it's something that I really think we should ponder on. Because even if you're someone who feels like, I'm not having a lot of sexual dreams, or I'm not struggling with daydreaming, yeah, well, how you speak, is it sexual? Do you make sexual jokes, sexual references? Are you in a relationship where you're constantly opening that door and teasing that? Are you always on your own with a group of friends thinking sexually? As you're scrolling social media and you know you come across enough sexual references in one day, do you just laugh about it, relate to it, silent repost to it, and then walk away? Or are you really aiming to live a holy life? Because it is so much more than these struggles. There are roots to these things that we have to talk about. Because daydreams and dreams that we are not provoking, they come from one place. And this is the word that I was researching, the word that God put on my heart immediately, and it's stronghold. Now, of course, we have to define stronghold, because you know me and my definitions. Strongholds are basically, you know what, rather than saying it to you, I want to give you a visual. Strongholds are like you built this house and you are living in this house. There is this fortress or big wall around your house, kind of like, imagine it like a fence, a gate, and it's surrounding your house from leaving your house. Does that make sense? It's almost like a protection. Consider a fortress, yes. Just imagine it. If you need to look up fortress, imagine that as your stronghold. A stronghold is basically something that literally holds you down from thinking in ways that would reach holiness. You have certain mentalities and perspectives and ideas of your emotions, ideas of God, ideas of your sin, ideas of all these things that are literally like fortified into the ground. They're stuck there, they're rooted there. And that gate, unlike most, does not have an open closed door. The only open closed door is what is inside the fortress, which is your home. Your home is the only one that has the door wide open, and consider a demon as the door stopper. That is what I love imagining as a stronghold, because people love describing a stronghold as either a demon itself or sin. And it's like, no, stronghold is actually the thing that leads up to that sin. A stronghold is actually, further than it being a demonic entity that is coming in and out, we don't want to name that as a stronghold, because then that automatically takes accountability off of you. To be like, oh yeah, well, there's like a demon following me around, tempting me and all this stuff, then that makes it seem like you have no responsibility over what goes in and out of your mind. And that's simply not true. Strongholds, and I know this might seem like a very unattractive topic, but I ask that you bear with this topic, because this can go very deep. Further than lust, there are so many strongholds of fear, of anxiety, these mentalities that prevent you from going outside of your home, yet you are leaving the door open of your home for other things to creep in. So you're not leaving your house of mentalities, yet you are leaving the door open for other things to enter your home of mentalities. And those mentalities that are rooted around you are literally like a fortress from your God, not connecting you to God. So strongholds that are lustful, I want us to ponder on this. And I want to start off with giving you a verse, because we're not going to go too deep into this without opening our word. And I just want to basically give you the exact text that we need when we're talking about strongholds. Maybe you've already heard of this before, but it kind of describes how we should be fighting when it comes to strongholds. 2 Corinthians 10, verses 4 and 5, which say, "We use God's mighty weapons, not worldly weapons, to knock down the strongholds of human reasoning. and to destroy false arguments. Or we could even say false compromises. We destroy every proud obstacle that keeps people from knowing God. We capture their rebellious thoughts and teach them to obey Christ. In a sexually charged society where all that is producing is sexually addicted minds, it is like handing you a free stronghold. Every single time you come across a certain perspective, a mentality towards lustful issues, towards the character of God, like all these false ideas, all these false thoughts that almost creep in and start rooting down a fortress around you so that you can remain stuck in the home that has a door wide open. Because that's all the enemy wants. The enemy wants that you have such a broken perspective of God that you always compromise your sin. You always leave room to say, well, I don't have any plan to get this thing out of my life, so I'm going to constantly leave the door open to see what God will do. Because, we're always waiting on God to reach out for us, even though he literally says, come to me and I will do all these things for you if you would just, surrender yourself to me. But we're always waiting for him to come to us, right? And even when he does come to us, we've already built a fortress that locks him out. The only access to get in is through the front door, which is inside of the fortress. I keep emphasizing this fortress thing because strongholds, when it comes to sexual thoughts, are literally rooted in that fortress. So no matter how many times you're crying out for, God, come here, God, meet me where I am, God, come help me, there are mentalities that you've had, things that you're allowing in your life, the way that you're nourishing yourself. Those things have not changed. Even though your level of shame and guilt have changed, even though your desire to change has increased, it hasn't made anything better because everything is still rooted around you. It's still rooted in your mind. Sorry. Okay, this is such a parenthesis, but you know what? You get to witness my mind. I literally just had a thought thrown at me of you're not doing this correctly. Just turn off the podcast. We're not doing that. Okay, I had to let you guys in on that. It happens quite often, I need you to know. Throughout these podcasts, I will be speaking, and out of nowhere, I feel this thought come in of just turn it off. It is so stupid what you're saying. Who is nearby? Gosh, he's such a stalker. When I bring up strongholds, I know that is not a very attractive thing, guys. I know that this idea of lustful dreams and lustful daydreams and just thinking sexually in general, it feels like you just want a step-by-step. And honestly, I already said this in the last podcast, I am so tired of this lustful battle being given so many tips that have to do with black and white mentalities. Because truthfully, I can tell you what worked for me, and it seemed very black and white to me, but maybe for you, it's something that you need a little more of a pull in a certain area. Maybe the thing that's provoking your mind most is social media, how sexual social media is. Maybe for someone else, it's the amount of sexual songs that they're listening to. Maybe for another person, it's the amount of sexual television or sexualized jokes in their friendships or sexualized relationships. There's so many different things that, man, I can't give you a step-by-step for all of them, babe. You have to be the one to diagnose in your life, what is my stronghold? Because there is a certain mentality that we walk with. There's a certain mentality that has to be destroyed in order for us to truly let God work within our minds. Because the fortress that is around our minds, the one that provokes lust more than it restricts lust from our home, it has to be torn down by God, but you have to welcome him into that. So spiritually speaking, there are demonic forces that are coming to try to control your thoughts. But they're not playing the game the way that you might want to imagine they're playing. I want this to make sense to you, because I think the way that we imagine the spiritual realm is so much sillier than it actually is. Like, we love to imagine like they're in our bedroom, which, first of all, demons do not have no access to your bedroom, babe. And if they did, it's like a little Job moment. If your room is, of course, if your home is dedicated to the Lord and you've allowed the presence of God to enter, it's not like there's some demon sitting in your corner. And if it is, you either have a gift to be able to see those things, you're being attacked or taunted or, kind of like teased by these things, or it is quite literally that there are doors open that you've opened within your life that invite these things into your intimacy, into your space. There's so many reasons, though, why you would have these demonic strongholds in your life. But don't consider a demonic stronghold the equivalent of possession. Very different things. When there's a demonic stronghold, it's kind of like I said earlier, the door stopper. It's the thing that holds the door open. It lets sin come in, welcoming it, saying, look at their mind, it's fearful, it's anxious. Look at their mind, it is so lustfully driven, it literally needs us in order to go to sleep at night. It's one of those things that, man, you have to break a stronghold by confessing that you've sown it into your life somehow. But strongholds also remain for long periods of time when there is so much nutrients pouring into that stronghold. Because a fortress can die quickly if you are no longer feeding it. Think of like a planted fortress. That's how I want you to imagine it. Because when you're no longer watering it, when you start uprooting it and no longer pouring into that thing, what do they have on you? What does darkness have on you? If everything that you are thinking about on a daily basis is pure, it's kind, it's selfless, and it's far from lust, it's everything that has to do with his love and the love that he's giving you in your life, that is where it will no longer have power. But if you're always feeding it with your desires, it has plenty of power over you. So, I want to first talk about dreams, because when we think about the mentalities that we carry, there are sexual memories that we have. There are hidden desires that we have. That you need to ask yourself, are those things more of a friend to me? Are those things unhandled business to me? Because I keep entertaining it somehow. Because dreams itself, this is where it gets a little, not sticky, it gets, I guess, slightly complicated, because dreams are not planned out. Dreams are very unintentional. Dreams come from memories and hidden desires. But that does not mean the responsibility is fully off of you. Dreams still come from either active sin or past sin. So this means that if you are having dreams that are sexual, it is not that you're, I'm getting attacked out of nowhere. No, there's a seed somewhere in you, babe. Seed somewhere in you, seed somewhere in your mind, seed somewhere in your heart. Now I'm going to talk about seasons of life, because this can be different for everyone. If you are in your singlehood and you are experiencing sexual dreams, what are the things that you are thinking about? What are the things that are planted in your mind that are allowing those sexual dreams to be so active? And if, let's say you're single and you are not thinking that sexually, but they're still coming out of nowhere, what from your past memories are still in the files of your mind? What from your life is still potentially a hidden desire? Whether it's a sin that you did enjoy once, whether it's something that you watched recently, listened to recently, or if you are just finally going up in life, you're kicking out the sin, you're creating great new habits, You're trying to obey, and out of nowhere a sexual dream comes out. Consider that an attack, because that's something that wants you to start looking back. But when you're having sexual dreams, let's say consistently, there is a seed in there. Now, if you're in a relationship, if you're married, either way, you're having sexual dreams, let's say even with your partner or someone who's not your partner, there are seeds in your mind that are either entertained and not completely uprooted. Let's say specifically, you know what, I want to speak to the married crowd. There's a possibility you got married without attacking a hidden desire that is rooted within you, that is part of the fortress of strongholds that surround your home. But getting into covenant automatically makes you one with your partner. So now you're able to be intimate, you're able to experience all these sexual desires. But there still can be, and this is what people don't talk about. People love acting like marriage is just, oh my goodness, it's paradise, you get to do it every day. Of course, it's also nice, but within that, there are still strongholds that needed to be uprooted. And if you waited for marriage in order to uproot those things, then they're going to be diagnosed while you're in marriage. So if you're experiencing sexual dreams that are coming out of nowhere, experiencing sexual dreams frequently, and this is where people start getting very heavy. They start feeling guilty because you're not just having sexual dreams, but you're becoming aroused by those dreams. You're waking up the next morning as if you touched yourself. As if some people are already waking up as if like they finished. And it's like, oh, did I do something in my sleep? Like, it's one of those things that you really have to bring to God immediately. Evaluate it. You have to ask him, Lord, what is lurking within me? What is lurking within my mind? What is lurking within my heart? Because when I look at Colossians 3:5, it literally says, put to death the sinful, evil things lurking within you. Do you know what lurking is? Do you want to literally know what lurking is?
So, what's your favorite hobby?
Stalking.
Lurking. I couldn't be serious after that. What the heck? Lurking is literally that it is like in a hidden little corner. It is not making it so obvious that it is active in your life. Lustful, lurking sins, lustful, lurking thoughts are the little seeds that are part of your fortress. Even if, let's say, you knocked down majority of your fortress, you surrendered so many things to God, there are still little things you have to search for. Little things that maybe you opened a door to that you didn't realize you did. There are so many times that I recognized in my own life, I thought I opened a door to only one thing. I opened a door to so many things. Why? Because I welcomed the doorstopper demon that was over here keeping my door wide open. So in the midst of lust, I wasn't just dealing with this little bit that was pornography. Now I'm dealing with audibly being pleasured by things. So now I'm dealing with like the book talk and being into like smut and all this sexual audios, and now I'm dealing with that. That door is now leading to me thinking sexually all the time, which is now leading to me thinking about all these sex dreams. Even when I didn't want it, it was still happening. We think one door is opening, it is opening several doors. So now, even if it's going to be in a later time in the future, the enemy is prepped to throw something at you as like a curveball. Because even when I stopped watching pornography, I stopped masturbating, and I was good for like, I think like a good 2 months or something. And then out of nowhere I get a sex dream, and I'm like, that was almost a reminder of what I wanted, but surrendered to the Lord. And that thing would then provoke me to look back. So we have to consider the things that are lurking within us. Consider the things that are lurking within you. Consider the mentalities towards lust, the compromises towards lust that are lurking within you. Because those things are provoking the dreams. Those things are provoking the maybe even encounters that you're having within your mind when you're having these dreams that are sexual, rather than resorting to guilt and resorting to shame. We have to just contemplate with the Lord. What did I open the door to, Lord? And if I'm not opening doors, what door did I forget to close? And if I didn't forget to close a door, is there anything in me that needs to be examined by you because it's offending you? Because we need to start examining our thoughts much more often. Because those thoughts provoke all else. They provoke so many, not just dreams, but ways of thinking and ways of speaking. And now the way we treat lust is carelessly. Now the way we treat lust, it's as if it's a normal. We join society in laughing about it, in relating to it. Oh my gosh, yeah, I had a wet dream about this. Wet dream? What are we talking about right now? Why are we laughing about strongholds that are literally demonic? There are actual strongholds that have not gone away because generationally they've been passed down over and over again. It's like inheriting a home. It's like, and man, oh my goodness, make sure if you feel that you have a stronghold in your mind towards lust, make sure that you are not passing down this home to your future generation without knocking down the fortress around it. Because if you, man, there's so many parents, and I know that they unintentionally did it, but there are so many parents that because they dealt with lust in their past, and many of them did not even get to confront their lust, because I'm sure their generation was shaming them on it. We're blessed because, blessed to a certain extent, because media talks about it enough that people are able to actually admit their flaws, admit their sin. It's a bad part of it because now there's no boundary and people are like laughing together as friends about being horny, and then they start opening doors and it's all this stuff. What I'm trying to say is that there are so many people in our past generations that passed down a home to us, that the fortress was still very solid, yet they gave the home to their child and they said, here, all things are clear, you can have a relationship with God now. Because these families that have these strongholds normally are pointing their children to have faith in Christ, yet they don't want to admit that they left the fortress in the house, around the house. So now their child is dealing with all these things, all these encounters, all these temptations. What does one do? What does one do? Now we all have to break down the fortress in this home so that future generations don't have to suffer this. So examine your mind, examine all the hidden places, and remember that specifically when it comes to wet dreams, when your body is releasing what you are no longer provoking to come out. Oh my goodness. And you know what? Let's quickly talk about it, because I've had many people, and I can't wait to talk about this further, when it comes to masturbation, there are so many people that justify it because of the mere fact that, oh, your body has to release specifically for men, they have to release the semen, or women need that like dopamine in their life and they need to release their fluids so that they don't obtain cancer. Get out my face. I cannot stand it when people try to use some biological knowledge in order to tell me masturbation is correct. Tell me in the Bible. Tell me in the Word. Because last I checked in the Old and New Testament, it shows me beyond I can't even speak because it angers me so much. It really does, because it feels like a giant excuse. It feels like a giant excuse. The truth is right there. The truth is right there. And we should not be responding to our bodies sexual needs, because those needs are not needs right now. So anyone that tells you that, they lied. Because you can actually research it. You're not going to get cancer for not masturbating. Anyways, your body actually naturally releases its fluids. Did we learn this? It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing God designed for us. Because he said, it's okay. For a season, you're not going to be releasing much because I need you to develop self-control. I'll help you release it, you know what I mean? It'll naturally pour out your body. But there are some times where in the midst of your body releasing it, your mind is trying to find the memory of when it was, your body was releasing some stuff by thinking about some things. So now you're having these sex dreams where you're waking up aroused, and then now you might be no longer aroused because the job is done. In that case, you do not have to repent as if you provoked it. Because there's so many people that wake up and they're like, oh, I'm guilty. My hands are dirty. No, babe, it's okay. Your hands are clean. It's down there that's not clean. And now, what you need to do, you need to cleanse your mind. You need to cleanse your mind. You need to cleanse your heart. And then you cleanse your body. And all of it is literally, God designed it this way, guys. God designed it so that you would be able to bring the stronghold to him. He's not allowing you to encounter these dreams and thoughts. Well, I'll get to the thoughts in a second, but specifically the dreams, he's not forcing you to encounter these things so that you can sin against him and then like now you gotta come and repent to him and all this stuff. No, just embrace the fact that there is such thing as attacks in your life. There is such thing as hidden, rooted strongholds in your life. And there is such thing as hidden desires that maybe you do not know are in you that are offending Christ and that come out through you having these dreams. Because I did not know that I was dealing with any sort of stronghold in my life until I started having the dreams. Because at first, when I'm just in the whole world of self-pleasure, I'm just thinking, okay, this is a sin I have to let go. I'm good now. No, this needs to be broken entirely if I want my kids free. So anyways, I digress. I want to also remind us of the goal, which is to find the flame of lust within you. That is truly the goal. When you're evaluating your reactions to lust, evaluating just how it reveals how much you've let go, how all this reveals how much you truly let go of lust, or if there are still remaining strands in your life. Now, quickly I want to mention daydreams, because daydreams are very different than dreams. Dreams are involuntary and they come from places that are planted in your mind and in your heart. Those are the things that we can say, okay, I need to seriously evaluate with God so he can give me those answers. When we're having daydreams, it's very much our own fault. We're thinking sexually. We are so sexually charged that we cannot go a day without thinking about something that can give us some dopamine. Something that can entertain our minds. And you know what? This problem is really about, it's not really about sex at all. It's not. Like if you really think about it, it is about you not being able to live in the present and always having a desire for the future over appreciating what you have now. That is really what daydreaming is all about, further than it being sexual. Daydreaming itself is this fight against reality. It is that you literally do not enjoy your reality that much. You do not enjoy the entirety of it because you feel like there is lack. So you spend your time escaping reality, imagining things that would please you, and imagining things that could satisfy you. And now all you can think about is sex. There's so many times that we daydream. I personally, I'm going to speak from my experience first. I was someone that could not go to bed without daydreaming a sexual scenario. And you know what? It makes me so mad when people post relatable content and they don't give any sort of repentance. There was a Christian creator that literally posted about that. It was like, haha, what is it? Something about when, before you go to bed and you're imagining a sexual scenario, that you have to basically like restart the scenario once something doesn't go your way. And then everyone in the comments is like, haha, real, haha, oh my gosh. I'm like, why is no one repenting? Why is no one being like, oh, this is so messed up, let's all say sorry to God? No, everyone's just laughing about it. And it's like, oh, babe, that's bad. If you cannot go to sleep without imagining a sexual scenario between you and your partner, or between you and like whoever you're attracted to, babe, whoever you're thinking about, it is not your place to be thinking those things. Why? Because you should be living in now. And also, you should not be provoking your mind to be thinking about these things. Where's the evidence? I got you. Philippians 4, verse 8. That says, now, dear brothers and sisters, one final thing. Fix your thoughts on what is true, what is honorable, what is right, what is pure, what is lovely, and what is admirable. Think about things that are excellent and worthy of praise. Is it worthy of praise to be imagining yourself having sex outside of marriage? Or you know what, let me be real, for my people that are waiting for marriage, is it really holy? Is it really holy to be having thoughts and sexual daydreams about you and your partner who you feel is going to be your spouse? Just because they're going to be your spouse, you're imagining yourself having sex with them on your honeymoon. Maybe after your honeymoon. Maybe you're just imagining what marriage would look like. No, babe. No, babe. Get out of your head. Because you need to learn to appreciate your life with them now. You need to stop thinking about the things that you do not have. Stop idolizing the things that you do not have. Stop worshiping these desires that are not yours yet. Because you're automatically perverting your relationship. You're literally, stronghold, door stopper, you're leaving a door open. And even if sin is not actively in y'all's relationship, it potentially will be because of the door that you're leaving wide open. These strongholds are so real. It will creep into your habits, and eventually your thoughts will become actions. So you have to be mindful about these daydreams that you're having. And honestly, you should at one point. This is my now opinion as a sister in Christ. I don't think daydreams are necessary. I think at one point you will no longer need to daydream. I think daydreams are, you know what, I don't want to say daydreams are going to be necessary at one point. I think just dreaming of the future, imagining what things are going to look like. That is nice. But now you scoot that off to the side, don't idolize it, and look at what you have now. Look at what's in your hands now. Look at what's available to you now. Even if it's not sexual pleasure, what is in your hands right now that can bless your life, that can please you, that can make you satisfied by the things that satisfy God? What are the things in your life that are actually meant to be giving you the dopamine that you find in daydreams? What are the things that you're not looking at, that you're missing out on? Because all you can think about is the things that you don't have. We have to contemplate our daydreams, because truly, if we're confessing what daydreams do, daydreams are basically a confession that you have a dislike for a part of what is present in your life right now. You don't like that you have to have self-control in a certain area. Guys, come on. We are in flesh. Of course, we all want pleasure. Of course, we all want to have an opportunity of freedom in our desires. It is the most obvious thing. And it's so funny to me because in the church, we kind of act like these things are not active in people's minds. I know everyone is out here, especially if you're waiting for marriage, you are at one point thinking about the thing that you want, which is sex, intimacy, being pleased and being able to please another. That is an obvious desire that we have to be able to give unto God. We cannot yearn for it so much that all we do is think about it. Because you know what's going to happen if you think about it all the time? You're going to start tolerating it and watching it. And I don't just mean pornography. I mean little things on social media that you probably should be scrolling by. And yes, I even mean the story times that people give. I even mean the TV show scenes and movie scenes and all these things that we realistically should not be compromising with. The certain types of music that is very sexualized. We should be walking more holy. But instead, because our minds are so horny and all we can think about is sex, you're going to start tolerating everything else in your life. You're going to leave the little stronghold door open, and you're not going to allow God to uproot what He wants to uproot in your life. Because believe me, He wants to be the thing that gives you joy. He wants to be the thing that is the dopamine in your mind. He wants to be the thing that you think about before bed, that you wake up to in the morning. He wants to be the one that you are absolutely in awe of and yearning for and like constantly thinking about. But you cannot constantly think about God and then also make time to daydream about sex. It is not possible. Once you open that door to start daydreaming about sex often, or just even talking about sex often, even joking about sex often, however you are moving within this realm of lust, within this stronghold, that automatically limits your intimacy with the Lord. Because you won't have, if your mind is so entertained, and this is why I'm so big on fasting, section parentheses, because when you are fasting, and I don't mean from your phone, that's way too easy. You should be probably just developing a habit of self-control, because scrolling is not really normal. It's too normalized. It is not something that I believe the Lord wants us to be doing. I think it is the most distracting thing in our society, and it's so normalized to the point that people don't care how much it is dragging you away. We need to, that's a different story, but this is not normal. But I digress. Fasting is a beautiful thing from food, because when you are telling your body, hey, I don't prioritize your fleshly desires. I don't prioritize that you're hungry right now, because I know I could survive without lunch today. I'm going to take this time to actually gain nutrition from the Word of God. And I'm going to allow His thoughts to overpower my thoughts, so that the thing that I thought I needed is erased from my mind, and I can embrace what He truly wants for me, which is actually going to satisfy me 10 times more than the thing I was thinking about before. Because I'm telling you right now, if you fast, especially to break these strongholds, I fasted. I did a 21-day Daniel fast to break away from lust, because I was so tired of it. And in the midst of those 21 days, I remember, oh my goodness, the amount of not really sex dreams. I was having I did have one or two that weren't pleasing to me though. I didn't want it. And I felt like these entities literally like sitting on my chest and clearly trying to like seduce. It was very, very demonic encounters. But in the midst of that, I felt the stronghold breaking. Because why? My flesh was no longer used to being fed. If your flesh is always being fed, if your flesh is always being fed, if your flesh is always being fed by all this media, by all this entertainment, by all these thoughts, you think you're going to break away from any stronghold? No, you're feeding your flesh. You're feeding it. It loves getting fat off of entertainment, off of comfort. So you have to get uncomfortable. And you have to allow God to open these strongholds in your life, make them known to you. but he can't make them known. He can't detach you from the supplement if you are always gaining nutrients from it. So, learn to be uncomfortable if you want to break away from these very, very lifelong, I want to describe it as generationally deadly. Does that make sense? I think it does. It's deadly for generations. It's entering families and killing off all these inheritances. It's making the inheritances toxic. Literally, I look today, there are more strongholds in young people due to the family never confronting the stronghold today than I think there ever has been before. And now, because it is not normalized to give up these strongholds, now people are just entertaining the stronghold and fortifying the stronghold, kind of hammering it into the ground or planting it and flowering it, watering it. And it's like, if only we would look at the stronghold, if only we would look at this lust, if only we would look at these thoughts and say, this is not meant to be in my life. The way that it was in my family's life. The way that it was hidden within these walls of my home. I can't have this in my home. So rid it of your mind. I pray that this was something helpful. Whether you are dealing with sexual dreams, whether you're dealing with sexual thoughts, whether you are just so surrounded by sexual references and all these things that are just, if anything, feeding the desires that you know should not be fed. I pray it was helpful, because again, these things are meant to be completely given unto the presence of God so that He can uproot it, so that He can break down these walls for you. But you have to be willing to stop daydreaming. You have to be willing to no longer like the secrecy, like the hiddenness of horniness. Ooh, the hiddenness of horniness. Oh my goodness. We're going to start making merch, guys. No, because I have to at this point. 2027, horny to holy, hidden in horniness. Lord, I might just have to start a conference. Someone get me with Jackie Hill Perry. Yo, I actually would love to unite with her, but that's a future dream for another day. Because you know what? I know God is going to open so many doors. The more that we talk about things that don't deserve to be hidden in these lurking corners, but they deserve to be exposed. So expose them in your life. I love you guys so much. And I believe next week we're going to be talking about, well, not next week, but the next video. We're going to be talking about sexual media, if I'm not mistaken. If not, we're talking about lusting after people that you love. That's going to be good. So stay in tune for Horny to Holy and continue to grow in your holiness with Growing in Truth. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.